The Trump administration just hit the brakes on border construction inside Big Bend National Park. And what makes this story especially interesting is that the opposition isn't coming only from Democrats. Republicans and Democrats are pushing back. Custom and Border Protection Commissioner Rodner Scott announced today that construction activity in Big Bend National Park is being paused. Scott says he plans to personally visit the area, evaluate the terrain, and meet with local leaders, community members, and other stakeholders. And that is pretty significant development because construction had already begun. Now, there's an important distinction here. CBP has said that it's not building the original discussed 30-foot wall through Big Bend National Park. Instead, the project involved things like access roads, improvements to existing roads, surveillance and detection technology, and limited vehicle barriers. But critics argue that even this scaled back project could seriously alter one of the country's most protected landscapes. Big Bend is incredibly rugged terrain, and that's exactly become one of the biggest arguments against the project. Some critics, including Republicans, have questioned whether massive physical infrastructure makes sense in an area where mountains, cliffs, desert terrain, and the Rio Grande already create major natural barriers. The Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn has raised concerns about the project and argued that the terrain itself provides a significant deterrent to illegal crossings. And that's where this story gets politically interesting. This isn't simply Republicans versus Democrats. You're seeing bipartisan concerns over whether the government should be building new infrastructure inside of America's most iconic national parks. Environmental and conservation groups have also strongly opposed the construction. They argue that road barriers and other infrastructure could damage wildlife habitat, archaeological sites, and cultural significant areas. There have been lawsuits challenging the government's actions in the park. So the debate is really becoming, how do you secure the border without unnecessarily damaging protected American land? But here's the part people need to understand. This is a pause, not necessarily the cancellation of the project. CBP says construction is being halted while Scott conducts his evaluation. So the administration could ultimately decide to modify the project, move forward with some of it, or potentially abandon portions of it. Right now, we simply don't know. And honestly, this is one of those situations where the political argument is as simple as border security versus open borders. You can support strong border security and still ask whether every piece of federal land needs the same infrastructure. And you can support protected national parks while still believing the federal government has a responsibility to secure the border. These two things aren't necessarily contradictory. So what do you think? Should the government continue construction in Big Bend National Park, modify the project, or leave the park alone and rely more heavily on technology and natural terrain? Let me know in the comments.